Howdy everyone, it is March the 4th of 2017 and I'm here with a recipe for you. This is a very kind of do-it-yourself, kind of find your own way kind of recipe. There is a traditional way of making this particular dessert, let's call it a dessert, that I'm going to make. It is a traditional Mexican dessert. It's called Capirotada. Capirotada is basically a bread pudding. And it's a Mexican style bread pudding. There is traditional ways of making it, and then there's the lazy way of doing it when you don't have the authentic ingredients, or you just can't find them, or it's raining outside and you just don't want to go anywhere to find stuff. But I do have some of the ingredients that I will need, and to make a piloncillo, basically what you need is some bread. So I have these called bolillos. They're like a French bread. It's just a white bread, and I'm going to be slicing these up. I bought 7 of them. These are awesome. I can find them for 20 cents at my grocery store, and they're really good. These are great for lunches. If you cut them up, stick things in them, like chorizo and egg, or beans, or like some nice refried beans, or even some ham. These are really great, and sometimes they get deep fried. The bread gets deep fried. Anyway, but we're not going to do that to them today. We're going to be toasting them. So we're going to need some bread. That's a basic need in our capirotada. Then we're going to need a tea or a flavored water. And what we're going to make is we're going to be making some cinnamon tea. So I've got some cinnamon sticks right here. So just get whatever cinnamon sticks you find, whatever you have, and make a nice tea with them. And I'm going to be making about 4 to 6 cups. I don't know if I'm going to use that much, but that's about how much I'm going to make. In my tea, though, I am going to be adding some raisins because I want the raisins to get plump and I want them to absorb the cinnamon flavor. Another thing that I can add to my tea is some peanuts. I don't have any peanuts. I wish I'd remembered to get peanuts, but I don't have any. But that's another thing that I like to put in my capirotada. But I do have some crunchy peanut butter, so I'm going to be using that to spread on the bread after it's been toasted. And the other traditional thing that you put into your capirotada is a piloncillo, which is this particular type of cane. This is a cane sugar. It just hasn't been basically it hasn't been whitened like the white sugar that we're used to seeing. Or not whitened, but I don't know what I can't think. It hasn't been processed in the same way. This is a pure cane sugar, so it has a nice brown coloring to it. It's really nice and sweet. It's really a tasty kind of sugar that you just crack. A lot of people have it with queso fresco and a corn tortilla. You warm it up, put it in there with that, and it's delicious. And we're going to melt this into our tea. If you don't find a piloncillo, you can use brown sugar, like dark brown sugar. The other thing we're going to put into that also is going to be some butter, and I'm going to use a whole stick of butter for this particular recipe. And then the other thing that you need is some sort of cheese. Now, for a traditional Mexican capirotada, you would use a Mexican cheese, and you can use something like a queso fresco, or if you want to use a melty cheese like a Oaxaca, you can use that, or whatever queso you want to use. I'm going to do it the way that my grandmother did it 2 ways. My grandmother would use the bread, she would use the piloncillo, she would use butter, she would use cinnamon, raisins, and she would use peanuts and Mexican queso fresco to make her capirotada. That was one way that she would do it. The other way that she would do it was the fun way, and she would have me help her out, was to do it with peanut butter and just regular slices of American cheese. But I'm going to use this Velveeta cheese. It's just a cheddar flavor type of cheese. You can use any cheese you want. Like I said, you can make this recipe any way you want. Lots of people put sliced apples in them. Some people put sliced banana in there. You can put different fruits. My choice of fruit is raisins. I love them. You can use pecans in there if you want. You can be creative with this in any way you want. So that would be going off the grid of being traditional Mexican capirotada, but you know what? Whatever you have in your pantry, you can create something. So just look around, see what's available to you, and let's just create something fun and delicious. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go start up slicing this bread, and we'll be right back. All right, so what I've been doing is I've been slicing these kind of like in a 1/2-inch piece. Now, if you don't find this type of bread, like I said, you can use, well, I don't think I said, but you can use like French bread, or you can use regular loaf bread, any bread really that you like, if you like the flavor. There we go. That's how thin I'm cutting them. And I'm just laying them on this piece of foil. You can put them like on a cookie sheet or some sort of a baking sheet. And just put them in there. I've got my oven at 375 degrees. It's already preheated to that temperature. So I'm going to keep cutting these, keep slicing these with my serrated knife. And then probably going to get another piece of foil and make another sheet to put some more, because I've still got 3 more to cut here, and I bought 7 of them. But you can do a lot less than that. Okay, I've already got some of those bread slices in the oven, and I'm using my upper oven, so I can only put a little bit in there at a time. And I'm toasting the bread for about 5 to 7 minutes, and then I'll get this one in the oven. In the meantime, I've started cracking the piloncillo. It's a brown sugar cones. What I'm using is my rolling pin, and I'm just banging them to break them. I'm going to dissolve them in water as I boil the water, but this helps kind of have smaller pieces to do that. And you probably don't want to do it on a glass cutting board. You don't want to crack that. Anyway, so you want to make sure you just crack it up a little bit. I'll crack it up a little bit more in a minute. But this is what I want. I just want small pieces about that size, so they'll dissolve a little bit easier in my water. I've already got 6 cups of water that I'm going to go ahead and start boiling. I'm going to put that in there, and also I'm going to add about 6 of these cinnamon sticks, and I'm probably going to break them in half. I want it to be like really concentrated, really flavorful, and of course I'm going to add the raisins in there, so that's going to get going up next. All right, here's the first batch of little slices of bread that I've toasted. I've got the other ones in the oven. And then I've got here some water. This is 6 cups of water with the 2 piloncillos in there, and I've broken them up, as you can see. And here's 6 sticks of cinnamon that I've also kind of broken. And we're just going to push them in there. And then I've got these 4 little boxes of raisins, which is about a cup. So just throw those in. Now, if you don't want to use raisins, you decided you want to use something else, you're not going to throw bananas in here, but you could certainly throw some apple slices in here. Get them cooked a little bit. You don't want them to get too soft, though. You don't want mushy, so just make sure this first breaks up, you know, the piloncillo, this cane sugar here. You want that to break up first before you add some apple slices in there, because they might get too soggy in there. Okay, so we're going to let this get to a boil, and I'm going to keep poking at the sugar here to break it up and create this tea that I want for my capirotada. All right, well, I'm letting my tea boil, and I go over there once in a while to kind of crack that piloncillo in there. I'm going to be coming over here and taking some peanut butter, not so much, just a little bit, and on each of these little breads, I'm just going to slather on a little bit. Just enough, like if you were buttering them up, but just with peanut butter. And I'm using crunchy peanut butter, like I said, because it's got the little bits of peanuts in there that I want. If you're allergic to peanuts, obviously don't use this. Maybe you can use an almond butter. I don't know if you can do that if you're allergic to peanuts. I don't know how that works. Yeah, but traditionally, yes, it has peanuts in there. Okay, I'm going to continue peanut buttering these up and checking on my tea. When my sugar is dissolved, broken up and dissolved in my cinnamon tea, I'm going to throw in a stick of butter in there and let that melt in there as well. And I'll be back. Okay, here I've got my tea, and I've already stirred it around quite a few times, and the sugar, the piloncillo, is dissolved in there. So what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and fish out all these cinnamon sticks. So I'm going to remove all those cinnamon sticks from my tea. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to also remove all these raisins and put them in a little cup. So I'm going to separate them, and then I'll add the stick of butter in there to melt. And then I'm going to pour that into a 2-cup thing at a time to use in my capirotada, and you'll see that in a minute. Okay, I've removed all the cinnamon stick, and I think I've removed at least most of the raisins from there. And here I have them. They're all nice and plump and juicy. And now I'm going to add this whole stick of butter in there. And let me turn it back on just at a lower temperature. And I'm just going to melt that in there. Now, you don't have to add butter if you don't want to. I do it because that's what my grandmother used to do. She would put butter in there. So just melt that butter in there. And then we're going to put some in a little cup thing like this, a 2 cup at a time. And that will be poured into our bread. Let me show you what I've done with that now. Alright, so I've put peanut butter. I spread it all over all these slices of bread. I've got a pan here. I've got my cheese, raisins, and some of my cinnamon tea with a little bit of with butter in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what you would do with lasagna, is you would just make some layers, cover up the whole bottom of your baking dish, or maybe you're doing a lot less than me and you can use a little pie dish or something. But I'm going to use all this bread in this pan, and then these smaller like little pieces like this, I'm going to kind of tuck them in between the bigger pieces, and they can be on top of each other a little bit. That's fine. So what I want to do is I want to create layers. Get these in there. Get them in there to cover up the little corners there. So just create a layer like that. Now, if you had some bananas or you had some apple slices that you were wanting to add to this, then you would go ahead and make a layer of that. And then you would take your Mexican cheese or whatever cheese you like. I'm using this Velveeta. This is the first time I'm going to use this. But you want something melty or crumbly in there. So I'm going to put a layer of that. And then I'm going to add a layer of raisins. Now, if I had put peanuts in there, they would all both come out here together. So they would be sprinkled on here at about the same time. And then I'm going to pour some of this tea, buttery tea, on top of that, so it gets soaked. You don't be shy. Okay, like I said, if you had some fruit, you would layer that, and then you would start over again with some more bread on top of that, and just push it into the other ones. Just smush them down in there. And we're going to, again, repeat all these steps till we used up all our ingredients. And then we're going to put it in the oven. And I'll be back. I'm going to finish this up and I'll be right back. Okay, here I am doing the last pieces of bread that I have still out here, into my pan. And this, I've been pouring that hot tea onto the bread, so it's been soaking up into it. It's like if you were doing a bread pudding, a traditional bread pudding, and you'd be using like an egg custard. You want it all to get soaked in it. And then the last of these, I want to say grapes, these raisins. And some more of this cheese. I pretty much almost used 2 packages of the cheese. You don't have to use the whole thing. It's up to you. Pour the rest of this tea. I just poured some on the floor. Okay, get that all nice. Make sure all the bread is soaking in it. Okay, and I still have my oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to put this in there for about 20 minutes, I'm going to say. And let all the bread absorb all that juicy tea that I made, all that butter and the cinnamon to get into the flavors, into the bread to flavor it all up and get that cheese melted. And I want it to get kind of toasty up on the top. So I'm going to see. I'm going to let you know how much time I actually left it in there for at 375 degrees. And then we're going to enjoy this. Yes, we are. We'll be back. Right, here's my capirotada. It was in the oven for about 20 minutes, and it's all nice and baked and crunchy on the top a little bit, a little toasty, as you can see that. And all the bread has been soaked into the, the tea has been soaked into the bread. So here we go. We're going to dig out a nice big portion. And I want you to see what it looks like. Let's get this a little closer. Look at that. Get some more of this on top. Look at that. Look at how delicious it looks. It's just like a little, it's basically like bread pudding. But there you go. There's my capirotada, my take on capirotada. Capirotada is traditionally made around this time of the year, right after Ash Wednesday. On Fridays, a tradition. It's a Catholic tradition to have fish on Fridays. And capirotada is a dessert that has been made also to accompany your Friday meals. I'm not Catholic. I was born, no, not born, but I was raised Catholic as a little kid. And I am still a Christian, but I'm not Catholic anymore. But I still like the tradition of having fish on Fridays and having the capirotada. Unfortunately, I didn't follow the tradition yesterday. Today's already Saturday. But it's okay. I can have capirotada anytime I want. I don't have to wait for the specific day. And this is basically a dessert also that we also serve during the Quaresma, which is this time of you know, Ash Wednesday, Passover, and all that, and Easter coming up. So this is it. I hope you like this recipe. I hope you will try it just as I have done it, and that you will enjoy it. And let me know if you have your traditional recipe for capirotada or even a bread pudding. It doesn't matter, either one. Put a link at the bottom if you do have a recipe that you'd like to follow, or if you have a video that you want me to see and check it out. Please give me a big old thumbs up, leave a nice comment, subscribe, and as always, enjoy.